Hey there, this is Seb from the future. I hope you're having a blessed day. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Today we've got a super special guest call within the community. We will be speaking with Luke Erasmus. Luke Erasmus comes from a hospitality background and is an absolute legend. Luke came on and actually now works within the Setter Syndicate team. So to be fully transparent, this is a unique testimonial in the sense that Luke started out in this industry with hospitality background and he actually ended up working within my company, Setter Syndicate. We actually hired him through the community as he was, just a really good fit. So Luke has an incredible story. He shares a lot of value throughout this interview. So I really hope you find a lot of value out of it. I hope you can resonate with his story. He has a lot to share around his background in hospitality, his thoughts on that industry, and his plans for the future and how he progressed throughout the high ticket sales industry. And just his perspectives on everything from the transition to the industry itself to how he's progressing, how he's finding it, the pros, the cons, everything that he has experienced over his journey in the industry and also working with us at Setter Syndicate. So I hope you find this one valuable. I hope you have a great day. And without further ado, let's jump into the interview. All right. So typically, I'll also just keep this little intro bit here in as well before we start recording. But yeah, I'll just do a brief intro. We can jump into it. Do you want to just approach it from your personal experience?
Yeah, I mean, we can do a bit of both.
Sweet. All right. Let's jump into it. I always laugh at myself when I do this. All right. Sweet. Welcome back, everyone, to another testimonial video. I'm here with my main man, Luke. So Luke is an absolute legend. Luke has a big background in hospitality and even the online space, been trying many different business models. He's got a great story, and I think a lot of people will resonate with Luke's story, especially those who come from Cape Town. So I'm super excited to jump into it. This will be a different testimonial as Luke started out with us a couple months prior to him actually going all in with high ticket sales. And it'll also be a slightly different one because Luke is now working with us at Setter Syndicate. He's part of our team internally. So it will be a slightly different type of testimonial video. Nevertheless, I think super interesting and will be very cool to get Luke's perspective on everything. Yeah, long intro there, bro. But do you want to just give yourself an intro there? Name, age, where you from, background?
Yeah. So yeah, guys, my name is Luke Erasmus. I'm a 24-year-old from Cape Town, South Africa. A little bit of a background of myself. Was actually in hospitality about a year ago. Managed a wine farm, did it for about 2 years. But yeah, and then, I've tried many different business models when it comes to, e-commerce, the agency model and, all of that. And yeah, I went obviously into sales. And yeah, the rest is history. That's all I can say.
Sick. What a legend. But sweet, are you not going to disclose where you worked prior? I'm totally fine with that as well.
Let's just say it's the best wine farm in Cape Town, specifically in Constantia, on the hill next to La Parada, ex-Foxcroft. So if you know, you know.
Sounds good. Sweet, bro. Well, look, I'll ask you three sort of hook related questions and then we can take a step back. The first one would be, what got you interested in remote sales in the first place and appointment setting, remote
Yeah,
work?
like I mentioned, I've gone into drop shipping. I've done the SMMA model. I've done all of that. They are quite capital intensive, I would say. And I realized that someone like me is good at speaking to people, good at resonating with people. And, coming from a hospitality background as well, you quickly learn on how to kind of read people. And that's why I looked at high ticket sales or kind of appointment setting just to kind of get my foot in that door.
Sick. Awesome. And what made you take action on working with us specifically at Setter Syndicate?
Yeah, what made me take action was I genuinely always wanted to see what business models actually work for me. And high ticket sales and business, when you are working in these businesses, right, you actually see the front end and the back end of every business. So when you yourself want to eventually start your own business, right, you can actually see exactly the ins and outs. And also just resonating with people and clients, right? It actually taught me how to articulate properly, how to speak properly with people, how to kind of read people in a room, over video call as well. So yeah.
Yeah. Do you feel like this is just a side? Do you feel like you've learned more within sales so far than you have in hospitality?
Genuinely,
Like
I think so.
people.
Yeah, like hospitality, you have to kind of, be a certain way. You kind of have to, for lack of better words, you have to, I don't know how to say this, but you just have to be nice all the time. I'd say with sales, what I've picked up is just holding that frame and holding true to yourself and your belief and your vision. And if you can articulate that correctly, people will actually listen to you. They actually resonate more with you because you are speaking from a place that you truly believe that you are speaking from. If that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. And with that said, then there we can jump into it, bro. So, what was life like prior to working with us? What did life look like?
Honestly, I would say very comfortable, very comfortable. I was making a good amount of money at the wine farm. You could say in season between 30, 35, 40K a month. But the only thing is that you obviously don't have time for yourself. You don't have time for friends. You don't have time for family. That location and time freedom wasn't there. Even though the money was there, but the location and time freedom wasn't there at all. And, for me, doing it for about 2.5, almost 3 years, I'm 24 as well. I was like, I needed that break. I needed to get into something where I have that location, time freedom, and also money freedom as well. And that's why I went with, high ticket sales, appointment setting, all of that.
By the way, bro, if you want to swale stuff out, that's one thing I forgot to say prior to asking the last question. If you wanted to say you have to be like an arse licker, if that was like what was on top of your
Yeah,
head, you can.
I wanted to say that.
Yeah, you can. No stress. Sweet. What do you feel like was, if there was one? Because a lot of people just don't. What was like your breaking point?
Breaking point genuinely was literally like last year, like I could say probably winter time. So everyone who's that's in hospitality knows that April to September is the worst months of the year, right? There's no money, there's no work, and for me, like, I can't have my income like capped at only peak season time or season time. I couldn't have that. Like, so the breaking point for me was literally that last year winter, and that's when, I decided to choose a different path, a different career path, and that's why I went into, like I said, high ticket sales, because it's something that is constant. As long as you put in the effort, as long as you put in the work, you will get the results. Genuinely.
100%. Sweet. And you know, you did try a lot of things prior to getting into high ticket sales. What exactly did you try? And you did mention it prior briefly, like lack of capital, but what did you try and why didn't it work for you?
Uh, I've tried, the SMMA model back in the day. It's very saturated. I've tried the e-commerce model, went into it for a good couple of months, spent a lot of money on starting an LLC, spent a lot of money on, ads, spent a lot of time as well. And, eventually you kind of realize that after you spend like what, 40, 50, almost 60K on e-commerce, and there's fuck all return for that, you know, it's like, shit, like I have to pick something
Yeah.
else. Like maybe I'm not cut out for that right now. So pick something else.
Yeah, fair play. So you just feel like, if you feel like it could have worked, but it just needed more capital to do so.
Yeah, I genuinely feel like it could have worked, but it's just the capital to get there. Nah, you spending 50, 60K to hopefully get that one sale that you're still going to be at a
Yeah.
loss.
Yeah, I had a similar experience when I started in ecom. It took me like, I spent $1,000 on a program, and then about like $900 deep into like, Shopify subscription apps, running and then testing products, like because I'll do $100 per test that I hit like that cha-ching. But that first cha-ching actually low key is can be like worth all that money lost. Such a good
Yeah.
feeling. But I hear that. Okay, sweet. And so, with that said, then, granted you had that in mind, what stood out to you? I know you've also briefly mentioned it with regards to the time and location freedom. Stood out to you about Setter Syndicate, though, compared to everything else you'd seen out there?
Honestly, what actually stood out was, I have seen other programs, around the world. But genuinely, if you are looking for that one-on-one kind of coaching support, that kind of tight-knit community, with a lot of coaches, also team members of Setter Syndicate, to actually get to where you need to get to within these like kind of foreign markets, working on these US, UK sales teams, I would say genuinely that is the place to go, Setter Syndicate. Like, I've never seen, you know, in any other programs that one-on-one kind of support. Like I've been in, you know, I don't want to name names, but I've been in other bigger programs where you actually don't get that one-on-one support. It's like, here's your program or here's your, you know, course material, figure it out, right? Like we will
Yeah.
obviously give that, like Setter Syndicate does give it, but it's like if you are looking for that, you know, extra support, that extra mileage where you need help at like 2 a.m. in the morning, not saying that everyone's getting help at 2 a.m. in the morning, but you know, like a one-on-one support is genuinely gonna get you to where you need to get to. So yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Sick, bro. And if you had any, what hesitations did you have prior to working with us?
The hesitation I had was no, look, I knew exactly because like I obviously hit you up in the DMs. I knew exactly like I was being set genuinely. But any hesitations, I never had any hesitations to be honest with you. I was like, I need to find something. I need to find a model that actually I can go with. I'd probably say the only hesitation I did have was just to see like if it was a good fit for me. That's probably the only thing.
I remember I actually took your call. I was the closer. That
Yeah,
was when I was in the calendar, right? Like I closed you.
yeah,
Correct.
you did.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
that. Interesting. Because I remember, yeah,
No,
you
like,
didn't
dude,
you didn't have any, or you're like, yeah, let's do it.
yeah, I had no
I
objections.
guess,
Like, dude, in the DMs, I don't know if it was you or whoever else, but I was just like, yeah, just tell me the price. I'll buy it like regardless. Like that's how I was. Like
yes,
I'm a
I
go-getter.
remember.
I'm a
Yeah,
go-getter.
100%, and that's why you're crushing it. What this is what I wanted to ask. It came back to me. So, granted, you were like an action taker. It did take you a couple months to actually go, horns first at this. Like, what
Yeah.
was the like what held you back from taking action and going all in sooner? Were you just wanting to wrap up the season? Like, I remember because you took a couple
I think,
months, right, before going all in, but then
yeah.
you went all in and crashed it.
I think the timing, so I joined in like probably August, September last year, and that's literally also when season starts at that wine farm, right? And new staff, new systems, owners change everything. It's like, yo, now I can't even focus now. Like I genuinely couldn't even focus. Like already from September onwards, I was working 15-hour days. Out of 24 hours, you know, you sleep for 8 hours, you wake up back the next day, and you know, you didn't have time on the weekends. You genuinely had nothing. So, literally, my catalyst was in December when, you know, a lot of things went south in the business that I was working at, and my manager, my hire manager at the time, she was actually like, "Flip, like, why don't you just go in, like, all in?" And I was like, "Cool, bet I'm gonna do it." So that's what I actually did. I went all in from like December, and yeah,
Yeah.
I've been here ever since, you know. So I couldn't, I mean, can't complain. Best decision ever, I would say.
Sick, bro. Love to hear it. And I'll skip the initial question because you did take long to sort of ramp up. Although you did have sort of industry experience because you were trying many models that encompassed like high ticket sales. So I'll skip the question on your initial experience in the first 2 to 3 weeks. But moving forward, what would you say has been your biggest win since joining us and since even joining the team at Setter Syndicate, like working with us as a company?
My biggest win is obviously being consistent in a very fast-paced industry, we'll say that. But also genuinely like taking each day as it is. And what do you realize the inputs that you do kind of multiplies over time, right? I will say
Yeah,
like, you know, I didn't, if I was 6 months ago at the wine farm, I wouldn't have thought that I would have made, you know, cash collected over 100,000 rand a month. Wouldn't have thought of that. Genuinely wouldn't have thought of that. And I
yeah,
just realized that every daily input that you do just compounds over time. So head down, do your work, you know, have a clear body, have a clear mind, go to the gym. I actually have more time for the gym as well. So yeah, I mean, also just having that genuine connection with also your team members as well, people in the community. Never really had that before working at other places. It's very much transactional at other places that I was at. And
yeah.
yeah, that's all I can say.
Sick, bro. So couple.
Yeah,
Love to hear it. Yeah, I think everyone in the team is gonna be together for a long time in terms of like from a relationship perspective, which is
yeah.
sick to see. And how do you feel now compared to prior to working with us?
Yeah, I mean, like we actually had this like kind of chat the other day. Genuinely, I feel more like energized. I feel more kind of there's like a purpose. There's a bigger purpose, I would say. You know, also I just have more time with family. I have more time with friends. When you have that more time and more with family and friends, you actually just feel better. So when you feel good, you do good. That's what I can say. So yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, genuinely at the end of the day, I'm just more happier and I'm just more energized to kind of put it in essence.
I think we just frozen a bit there. Okay,
Did you get that
sweet.
now?
And where do you, yeah, yeah, I kind of got, I got what you said. Where do you feel like that fulfillment stems from now?
Oh, that's actually a good question. I've never really actually thought about it, genuinely. Where that fulfillment stems from, I think it's just the longing of wanting just that location freedom. Like I've always wanted it. I've like genuinely from a young age, like I've always wanted that. Like you see these guys on Instagram, blah 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 blah, this that. But like you actually never really know it until you actually you're in it, and then it's like whoa, like this is actually real. This is possible. Who knows? From 6 months from now, I might be in Bali on a beach, doing my work, just living life to the max. That's what I can say.
Sounds good. Yes, sir. Awesome, bro. And I like asking this question a lot. You would have heard me ask it before. What do you feel like is one thing you've learned about yourself transitioning out of hospitality into this industry that, or just what do you feel like over the last couple months is one thing you've learned about yourself that you didn't expect you would learn about yourself?
I would say, look, I was always someone who was very quite introverted. I will say that. I'm a very observant person, but to get to where you need to get to, you just, the Nike quote, just do it, just get it done.
Yes.
Like, genuinely, wake up every day with intention. Even though you might not have any kind of path to get to where you need to get to, but just do it. Because that inputs, like I always said, every single day that you do it compounds over time, and then eventually the sun shines up. It's a new day, it's new possibilities. So just having an optimistic kind of thinking, I would say each day and every day, genuinely.
Sick. Awesome, bro. What type of person would you recommend Setter Syndicate to?
The type of person, if you are a go-getter, if you're someone that has a bigger, purpose, a bigger goal, I would say it's not for someone if you are shopping around. If that's what I will say that. If you want to go all in, genuinely, this is for that type of person. The person that has their head screwed on, if for lack of better words, I would say. And also the type of person that really wants to get their hands in or their foot into the remote space or into online business. Genuinely would say that.
Sick. 100%. What would you tell someone if they're on the fence right now?
If they're on the fence right now,
Fence about joining?
stop being weird. Stop being weird first of all, and also the reason why you're on the fence and the reason why you are where you are is because you're not taking action. That's all I can say.
Well put, bro. Wouldn't have said better myself. Awesome. And the last question is, what does the future of Luca Rasmus look like?
The future of Luke Erasmus, that's actually a really good question. I mean, I think I've, mentioned to you in the past, but genuinely I can see, still being obviously in remote sales, but eventually, in the future, starting my own kind of, it's very niche. It's not the biggest thing in the world. It's not like a glitz and glam, but actually starting my own tourism brand within Cape Town, becoming the biggest tourism brand in Cape Town. I still have a love for tourism, still have a love for taking people around Cape Town to the places I love as well. And then, that's kind of like the ultimate goal. But, like I said, still being obviously within remote sales. So, yeah.
100%. Sweet. 100%. Sick, bro. Well, look, I really appreciate you. Oh, let's make sure you
I don't know what's starting out.
have a stable internet connection. Give it a second. Is it you or me?
I can't even tell. Because like on me, on my side, the camera looks clear. But like on your side, the camera looks...
Trying to reconnect. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, can you hear
I'm
me?
back. We're back.
Yeah, we're back.
Yes, sir. Sweet. Yeah, bro. No, I was gonna say 100%. That sounds epic, and I mean, the more niche you go, a lot of the time, the better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say tourism is. It is pretty niche, but there's lots of money to be made, especially like as tourism's going like this in Cape Town. But sounds good. Look, I mean, lastly, do you have anything else you'd like to say to anyone who's watching this right now that may be from a similar background to you or just any person in general?
What I would say is I'm going to be very open and honest. Do you see yourself actually doing it for the next 10 to 20 years? That's all I can say. Do you see yourself actually being in that same position? Because hospitality is a position that keeps you in for 10, 20 years, 30 years. You can be very comfortable. Or do you actually want to be that go-getter that actually wants to fulfill your dreams and goals? That's all I can say.
Yo, bro, you're coming with the hard-hitting lines, bro.
But like it's true. Like people like it's true.
It's
Like
very true,
genuinely,
though. Yes. No, I
it's
agree.
true.
100%. I think that applies for anyone. do you genuinely see yourself? Are you truly content with where you are right now? If the answer is no,
Yeah,
then let's get foot on the gas, 100%. And that's
exactly.
what I respect about you, Luke. You're a fucking go-getter, and it shows, and it will continue to show in your life. But yeah, it's a pleasure to have you in the community, bro. I really appreciate you taking the time to jump on the call today. I think you. Oh, there you are, still with us. Yeah, I think people are really going to
Yeah.
resonate with this, with your message. I'm sure a lot of people who know you or have seen your face before will also be watching this. So I hope everyone that's watched this can find value out of your story and gain a different perspective around what's really possible. But yeah, I appreciate you jumping on. I appreciate everything you do for us as a team and a company as well, bro.
There we go.
Easy
Onwards and
as. All
upwards.
right. Yes,
Sue.
sir. We can cut it here. Thanks, my brother.
Okay.